UNDP Chief of Staff, esteemed delegations from across Africa and the world, good afternoon. I am honored to be your MC this afternoon at the conclusion of what has been an exhilarating convening of partners, leaders, policymakers, and young people of Africa. Right Honorable Prime Minister, I am pleased to advise that this week, the government of Rwanda, in partnership with the UNDP and the YouthConnekt Africa Hub, and several partners have convened 10,000 young people from across Africa under the theme of a summit called Accelerating Investments in Youth, Resilient Africa. Your Excellency, here present, we have delegations representing over 98 countries. And we're very pleased to say that this meeting has been very productive. But to tell you more, I would like to invite young people to speak for themselves. Allow me to receive our very own Ms. Alodi Iradukunda, who is going to present a position paper that young people who convened this week would like to present to leaders of the world at the next COP27. Ms. Alodi, you're welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Right Honorable Edward Ngirente, Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, Excellency Wamkele Mene, Secretary General of the AFCFTA, Honorable Ministers and distinguished guests present here today, again, good afternoon. My name is Alodi Iradukunda, and I am honored to present to you the position of the youth in Africa. This is a call to action to global leaders, which was developed in consultations at this summit, and which we hope will be presented at the COP27 meeting. So as the youth of Africa, we recommend the following. Number one, we need to look at climate financing. Now, mobilizing finance for climate change is urgently needed, as it is to a large extent a prerequisite to many of the actions that African countries need to take to address climate change. COP27 should lay out concrete actions for assisting developing countries in getting climate finance required to boost climate actions. Although developed countries had pledged almost $100 billion per year by 2020 for the climate action in developing countries, this has yet to be fulfilled. At COP27, there should be concrete actions to initiate plans and showcase how the funds will transform over the years to ensure its sustainability. Aside the $100 billion that I just mentioned, which is only a fraction of what is needed to deal with climate change, more innovative financing models and new financing instruments are needed. COP27 should clarify the steps needed to address loss and damage. There is an urgent need to secure a dedicated new financing facility that will help developing countries ravaged by climate-induced losses and damages. More policy-making efforts should be channeled towards understanding and laying out an action plan for tackling loss and damage across vulnerable communities alongside mitigation and adaptation. Number two, we're looking at youth-led green entrepreneurship. Africa needs to prioritize and harness the power of the youth-led innovative solutions as a tool for green and climate-resilient economic growth. The role of the young people in climate action should not be underestimated, as they are powerful catalysts in advancing climate actions, especially through this green entrepreneurship. Number 3, we need to look at scale-up adaptation. Africa needs to scale up adaptation now. As it stands, climate change threatens the lives and livelihoods of over 100 million people in extreme poverty. With the low levels of adaptive capacity and information relevant to supporting adaptation, as well as high dependence on agroecosystems for livelihoods, Africa will be harshly affected. Investments need to be made in early warning systems and infrastructure that can withstand extreme weather conditions, and we need to develop plans and policies to deal with the effects of climate change. Adaptation, hence, is key and critical to ensuring that Africa can continue to prosper in the face of a changing climate. Number 3, we're looking at just energy transition for Africa. COP27 needs to prioritize the just energy transition for Africa and ensuring sustainable energy access for the 600 million people and counting who still lack access to energy in Africa. Number 5, we're looking at climate-smart agriculture. Africa needs to accelerate the drive towards climate-smart agriculture, as climate change undermines the continent's ability to feed its population, making it a top priority to address. To address the mounting food insecurity in the face of climate change, agriculture productivity needs to be improved and built resiliently. Number 6, we're looking at proper waste management. Africa must take a firmer stance against the problem of plastic pollution and waste management. We need to improve the management of waste, particularly the plastic waste management, as this is a serious threat to our continent, affecting our health. More investments must be made in this area, either by building more public-private partnerships or scale up support to social entrepreneurship efforts that are addressing these issues. Currently, only 34 countries have partially or completely banned single-use plastics. We need more African countries to take this step, but also for strict regulations to ensure that these bans are upheld. Lastly, we're looking at an increase in continental climate change literacy. On average, national climate change literacy rate in Africa stands at 37%, highlighting a severe deficit for Africa that needs to be addressed. This is far behind the climate change literacy rates across Europe and North America, which is generally at around 80%. Africa needs to prioritize continental climate change literacy. Without it, hundreds of millions of people across Africa lack the climate change risk knowledge for proper adaptation to this issue. Right Honorable Prime Minister, I thank you for accepting this submission and look forward to the support of the Youth Africa initiatives and partners to deliver our request to the leaders at the COP27. Thank you very much.
Big round of applause to Ms. Alodi Iradukunda as she gives the floor. Right Honorable Prime Minister, I would like now to invite Ms. Juvenile Ngum from Cameroon, who will talk about her journey as a young entrepreneur and as one person who has benefited from the YouthConnekt.
Your Excellency, the Prime Minister of Rwanda, dear honorable representatives, good afternoon, everyone. Bon après-midi. I hope my French is not bad. Thank you. So I'm honored to be here to talk about my personal experience with the YouthConnekt Africa Summit. I know every one of us here has gotten relevant connection that is going to help us when we return back to our home countries and in our respective domains. My name is Juveline Gomgwa. I am from Cameroon. I am an entrepreneur, and I'm also the winner of the YouthConnekt Africa Awards in 2019 here in Kigali. I received $5,000 US through the YouthConnekt Africa Award sponsored by UNDP Rwanda. Thank you very much, UNDP. The YouthConnekt Africa Awards grant helped me to scale my business, and that is what has helped me to be where I am today. I can boast of acquiring a land and recruiting young people, especially young women, 70% in my waste management industry. Thank you very much. I am very happy to be here with 29 other brilliant climate activists. I don't know if they're around the hall. Thank you very much. And I'm incredibly excited to say that through relevant connections from the YouthConnekt Africa Summit, I have been selected to represent Africa and to be a speaker at COP27 in Egypt. Thank you to the organizers of the YouthConnekt Africa Summit. And my advice or recommendation for the YouthConnekt Africa Summit organizers is that we are talking now about climate change, and if there could be a provision in future for eco-friendly transportation means to and from the summit, as I hear of young African entrepreneurs who are coming up with solar-powered vehicles, solar-powered bicycles, if this could be provided for us in future summits. Last but not the least, the world needs more people who would value circularity and sustainability above everything else. I believe that it is possible to organize a YouthConnekt Africa Summit where there is no food waste. The food that we have left in our plates here at the YouthConnekt Africa Summit has ended up in the trash cans, and this food could be used to feed thousands of hungry and homeless people. And of course, food waste leads to global warming and climate disaster. Every problem begins with a climate change issue. That is why transforming our strategies and changing our behaviors to protect the planet and to help vulnerable people is the only way we all have to make Africa and the world a better place. Thank you very much.
Round of applause for Ms. Juvenile Gomgwa. Thank you very much for your intervention, and your recommendations are well noted. Another round of applause for her. Right Honorable Prime Minister, because we want you to continue to hear from young people, we have one more intervention from a young person who's going to tell us about his experience at this summit. Please allow me to invite Mr. Toki Rasolafomi from Madagascar.
Good afternoon, every people. Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, Honorable Minister, friends and young people, my name is Toki from Madagascar. I am a youth delegate from Madagascar. And let me say something first when I say is that because that is on my heart, and let me say this. The shimnye change, kubandi hanu mu Rwanda, kandi ni shemme murakonzi mwezi, kandi ndabakunda change. It's right, like, okay, so it has 6 times that I was about to go abroad, but each time I always faced a problem, visa issue, like of papers, and the last time during COVID-19, a friend of mine said, when people want to go abroad, their problems could be housing, visa, or something else, but you can, but for your case, it's really all the frontiers of the world were closed for you. A few days ago, I thought the first time of my life went inside the international airport of Madagascar and left for Rwanda to represent my lovely country, Madagascar. I'm glad I participate to the YouthConnekt 2022 summit. Connective over exchange knowledge, experience, techniques, something that I ever know before, and contributes to the developments. I met wonderful people who connect. You are here, my wonderful people who I am connect? You are here. The youth, you are here or not? Okay, you are here. And immersed myself in lovely culture, dance, and coupled with its admirable music, I just had wonderful connections with many other youth from Africa. So those African friends, I discovered, and I'm totally convinced that Africa can make it. The youth of Africa has the potential, the energy, the skills, the talent, and the motivation. So guys, let's build that resilient youth to make a resilient Africa. How you hear me? African youth, you are not a burden. You are not a problem. We are not there to solve problems because we are a solutions, and we are ready to do that. Okay. I think that you don't trust me. Yeah, you can do that or not. Oh, you don't trust me, so. Dwayne, I would like to reiterate my acknowledgements to His Excellency, the President of Republic of Rwanda, for these wonderful initiatives. Thank you to all the Excellencies, President of Republic of Africa, who allow your youth to shine. Thank you to Honorable Minister of Youth and Culture and the Republic of Rwanda and all the other Honorable Ministers. Je voudrais saisir cette opportunité aussi pour exprimer ma profonde gratitude à son Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la République de Madagascar, Andra Zwilne, et au ministère de la Jeunesse et du Sport, Tinoka Roberto, pour leur soutien infaillible pour la jeunesse Malagasy. Big thank you to all the partners supporting the youth to make it, UNDP, UNFPA, CRS, and many others. Thank you of all organizers, since or not. Thank you to those who have worked so hard, although they are not seen. The result of their work is wonderful. So big thank you to you organizers. And last but not least, thank you, young friends. Thank you, Africa. Let's keep and continue connecting to make our Africa shining, where the new generations, to bring one love, one peace, one nation, and one Africa. And let me say this in Malagasy. Msoda Tupko!
I'll say thank you to all our leaders and all our partners who are empowering young people. Now, Right Honorable Prime Minister, it's my distinct pleasure to invite our next speaker, Ms. Uli Keita, who has been driving the growth of this initiative. Please help me welcome Ms. Uli Keita, who is the Executive Director of the YouthConnekt Africa Hub.
Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, Edward Engineer, Your Excellency Wankale Mene, the Secretary General of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, Honorable Minister of Youth and Culture of Rwanda and the Chair of YouthConnekt Africa Steering Committee, Honorable Ministers of Youth across the continent, representatives of youth councils, Mr. Michel Chandoti, UNDP Chief of Staff, Ms. Lydia Zimogo, Regional Director of UNFPA, Mr. Tapera Muzira, and Madam Aissa Toure from AFDB, representatives from UN agencies, RC of One UN Family Rwanda, UNDP resident representatives from across the country, across the continent, UNDP resident representative of Rwanda, esteemed partners, our resilient young people here present with us and joining us virtually, dear participants, all protocol duly observed, a very good afternoon to all of you. Today, as we close this 3-day YouthConnekt Africa Summit, which has held important conversations on the subject of youth empowerment, I would like to start by recognizing His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, for hosting us. You can applaud. For hosting us and being a great champion for the development of youth in Africa. His incredible support to the YouthConnekt Africa from the beginning is what continues to drive this Pan-African initiative. I would also like to recognize and appreciate His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Macky Sall, the President of the Republic of Senegal, His Excellency Haj Geingob, the President of the Republic of Namibia, for their contributions in our opening ceremony. Your Excellencies, your support to the YouthConnekt Africa has greatly elevated this continental initiative. We are grateful for your commitment to the empowerment of young people and for scaling Africans to adhere to the values that are driving this continental platform, which are, 1, putting the youth in the driver's seat, nothing for us without us. 2, supporting country chapters to contextualize YouthConnekt. 3, innovation in program and policy design with the use of information technology. 4, implementation in a very efficient, effective, and sustainable manner. And then 5, data-driven, use of data to inform decision, drives actions, and advance advocacy agenda of YouthConnekt. Right Honorable Prime Minister of Rwanda, over the last 3 days, young people have engaged with their leaders, policymakers, private sector, and development actors, as well as experts. Some of the engagements that we discussed include training bootcamp for young entrepreneurs all over the continent on how to make use of the AFCFTA framework. In this, we have celebrated the innovation and creativity of youth entrepreneurs from all across Africa through a Made in Africa marketplace, which further confirms that young people in Africa are ready to trade and take advantage of the AFCFTA framework. Young people have asked for more investment in youth entrepreneurship, enabling startups to become resilient and to become made in Africa enterprises through agile and friendly policies, capacity building, and investments. We are grateful to our partner, the African Development Bank, for announcing yesterday of the rollout of their youth entrepreneurship investment banks, which will help address some of these issues. Additionally, young people have engaged with their leaders in shaping the narrative on Africa's development to ensure that Africa is portrayed for what it truly is, which is a continent rich of talent, natural resources, and resilience. Africa is indeed the future. We have had important discussions on the matter of health. Indeed, youth being a majority, the focus of our public health should be tailored to support their specific needs for mental and sexual reproductive health. Her Excellency, the First Lady of Rwanda, put it very well yesterday when she said, "Youth, may you be granted by all of our present efforts the drive, the determination, and wellness to thrive and build this world we desire for you and the generations beyond you." Youth have engaged policymakers, experts, and young people in agriculture and food systems, as agriculture is the oxygen of Africa, as stated by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture yesterday. We have also emphasized the importance of conveying efforts to elevate the cultural and creative industries as well as the sports economy, given the immense potential of creation of decent and high-level value jobs in that industry. Finally, we have spotlighted the digital economy as an important emerging sector which promises to create jobs. Your Excellencies, this 5th edition of the YouthConnekt Africa Summit, with the theme Accelerating Investment in Youth, Resilient Africa, brought together over 10,000 youth leaders, policymakers, personalities, artists, and sports legends in Kigali. We could not have achieved this without our esteemed partners. We are very happy to report that the Republic of Kenya will be hosting the 2023 YouthConnekt Summit next year. Your Excellencies, allow me to recognize the efforts of the government of Rwanda, the African Union, the United Development Program, COICA, Imbutu Foundation, MasterCard Foundation, African Development Bank, Africa Free Trade Agreement Secretariat, Food and Agriculture Organization, UN Women, UNFPA, UNICEF, Generation Unlimited, The One Campaign, Catholic Relief Services, SOS Rwanda, Digital Africa, Smart Africa, Dorberg Advisor, 250 startups, Digital Opportunity Trust, and many others for your great support in making this summit a successful event. Yes, we can clap for our partners. And to our wonderful and resilient young people, thank you so much for showing up and actively participating in this unique opportunity. Let me leave you with a quote from His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of Rwanda, when he said day before yesterday in the opening ceremony, "Being happy is the energy that actually bridges a gap between problems and solutions." Yes, so despite all obstacles, frustrations, challenges, youth, always be happy. Always take this advice of His Excellency and smile to the future. You are the present, you are the future, and yes, we can do it. This is a continent of dignity, of respect, of humility, and discipline, as he said it yesterday. I thank you so much.
Thank you, and that was Miss Uli Keita, the Executive Director of the YouthConnekt Africa Hub. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the YouthConnekt would not exist if it were not a partnership, a collaboration between government and development actors. One of the key partners that has enabled YouthConnekt to journey with young people to empower thousands and thousands across Africa is the United Nations Development Program. And for this, please allow me to invite Mr. Michel Kandoti, who is the Chief of Staff of the UNDP, for his remarks.
Excellencies, Honorable Prime Minister, Minister, colleagues from the UN, Resident Coordinator, and the partners of this initiative. This is my comeback to Rwanda from '96, and I'm very, very humbled by this experience. During this visit, 2 or 3 days visit, I have engaged with startups, climate activists, with you during yesterday's conversations. What I received from today is some lessons that I will bring home, wherever is home for me, with a deep heart and deep thank you in mind. So the first lesson is that a generation ago, 25 years ago, this could not have happened. Could not have happened because both governments, leaders, partners were in a completely different mindset in terms of listening to the youth, in terms of engaging with his own citizens, in terms of participating, allowing them to participate in decision-making. This initiative symbolizes a revolution, a mental revolution, a revolution in approach that can only be producing lasting results for the future. And we have seen the young people, how the young people have framed their contribution to the upcoming Conference of the Parties on the Climate Convention in Egypt. I'm saying this because if 25 years ago, a generation ago, this couldn't have happened, the government of Rwanda and all of you have allowed this happening to be a remarkable experience and something to be repeated. I'm very glad that it will be repeated next year in the neighbor of Kenya. But there are some lessons to be learned. A generation ago, what could have happened is government would have given you some solutions. Public sector would have dispensed some, honest and credible options for you to take. What we have seen here, we have seen a reversal of that dynamics. You have framed your own agenda. You have shared with us your own experiences, your own risk-taking, your own eagerness to make a difference in the world. And you have people, old people like me, but younger people like your leaders, that suddenly have learned to listen to you to make a difference in history. I think this should not be taken for granted if we want to make a difference in the future. So where do we take it from here? First of all, your message has been very clear, loud and clear. We cannot continue framing the future of humanity, your future, with the agendas of the past, with the priorities of the past. Your voice has been clear in offering solutions to invent circular economy solutions. Your voice has been very clear in providing solutions and pragmatic solutions to address the key drivers for climate change. Your offers have been extremely precise in articulating the way the digital economy can contribute to accelerate in making a difference in the way we will be able to work in the future. Again, all this couldn't have happened if the government of Rwanda, particularly the Honorable Minister of Youth and Culture, Rosemary Mbabazi, wouldn't have been such an avid champion, advocate for what you have done. They have been a fantastic partner for UNDP as well, that have produced what has happened in these few days here. Very exciting. As His Excellency President Paul Kagame reminded us at the opening, together we can go far, further and faster. And as I conclude, I would like to thank you, youth present here, but all our partners, the UN agencies that have contributed to this fantastic event, and also our partners such as the European Union, the Republic of Korea, the African Development Bank. Rwanda and Africa, as you have seen, as you have witnessed in these days, are on the move. They are the future, and you are the future in Africa and for the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michel Kandoti, UNDP Chief of Staff. And thank you to the partners across the room who represent the great efforts that you're mobilizing every year to ensure that we are empowering young people. Right Honorable Prime Minister, in 1963, 32 heads of states came together to decide on what we have seen emerging as the African Union. They decided that Africa had to unite and join efforts. But after all of that, one of the greatest achievements helping us realize that united Africa has been the Africa Free Trade Agreement, which allows us to trade together as Africa. Your Excellencies, it's my pleasure to invite to the stage His Excellency Wamkele Mene, who is the Secretary General of the AFCFTA, to share with us what this means to the youth of Africa.
Your Excellency, Right Honorable Prime Minister Jirente, the Minister for Youth, Honorable Mbabazi, Honorable Ministers that are here for this summit, Executive Director of YouthConnekt Africa Hub, the leadership of UNDP, and as well, of course, yourselves, the young lions of the African continent who are here gathered in numbers. It is a pleasure for me to have this opportunity to express this message of support for this initiative. I want to start by joining the Executive Director in appreciating the efforts of President Kagame and his government, ensuring that we create a platform for young people to make expression of their views in the development of our continent. As the program director said, in May 1963, our heads of states and government, the founding mothers and fathers of the African Union, resolved to fight colonialism, resolved to ensure that the African continent must be integrated. Political integration, economic integration. And of course, arguably, that vision was fulfilled as we pushed back colonialism. With the defeat of apartheid in South Africa, that vision was completed. The vision that has evaded us is economic emancipation of our continent, particularly with young people at the center of benefits that will arise from economic emancipation of this continent. The African Continental Free Trade Area presents all of us a very unique opportunity to push back poverty, to advance industrialization, to create opportunities for young people here in Africa so that young people stop dying and being buried deep in the oceans of the Mediterranean as they seek better opportunities in Europe. 1.3 billion people with a combined continent has. And in the wisdom of our heads of states and government, the AFCFTA is probably, as we speak, the main tool that will ensure that that vision of 1963 in May, a vision of economic emancipation of our continent, that vision is indeed fulfilled. Trade agreements are not about the past. Trade agreements are about the future. That is why you as young people must ensure that your voice is heard as we continue to negotiate and implement the AFCFTA. Your voice must be heard to ensure that we implement the AFCFTA in a manner that is responsive to your needs as the future of the African continent. By the turn of this century, 1 in 4 people will be African. We all know that Africa has a great asset in young people, which we refer to as a youth dividend. That is exactly why you have to take charge and ensure that the AFCFTA creates opportunities for the future. Small, medium enterprises that you lead, your entrepreneurial skills must find expression in the AFCFTA. You must be able to trade in Rwanda with somebody in Senegal. You must be able to trade with somebody in Malawi, in Egypt, in Morocco, across the African continent. This is what the AFCFTA is about. It is about creating opportunities for young people, creating opportunities for small, medium enterprises, ensuring that young people who are at the cutting edge of innovation and technological advancements, that they see opportunities that are created by the AFCFTA. And so I'm most grateful for the opportunity to partner with you to make sure that beyond the aspirations that we express, which are good, that young people must be involved, that we actually codify these aspirations into legally binding obligations so that our governments can continue to create opportunities for young people. That is why we're negotiating now at the direction of the Assembly of Heads of States and Government. That is why we're negotiating the protocol on women and youth in trade, one of the pillars of the AFCFTA, to make sure that legally binding commitments are made and that we have sustainable long-term solutions for young people as they trade across the African continent, as they innovate across the African continent. Last month, we hosted a very successful conference with Her Excellency Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan in Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam, where young people were telling us the barriers that they experience in accessing markets across regions, the challenges, and more importantly, young people had the opportunity to offer solutions about how trade can be inclusive and how trade can ensure that they too see the benefits. And so let me leave you with this thought. The AFCFTA is not about governments. It is being negotiated by governments, but it is not governments that trade. It is young entrepreneurs, it is small, medium enterprises that are led by young entrepreneurs and led by women, creating over 450 million jobs in Africa, contributing over 60% to Africa's GDP. These are the drivers of Africa's economy. It is also not large corporations only that should benefit from the AFCFTA. It has to be you, young Africans, the future of this continent. As I said, the AFCFTA trade agreements are not about the past, they are about the future. And we have a very unique opportunity as Africans to make sure that for the very first time in economic history, we see a trade agreement that reflects the interests of drivers of economic activity in a country or in a region or in a continent. And so I once again want to recommit ourselves and myself as Secretary General to work with you to create these opportunities, to make sure that young Africans in this continent, that they stay in this continent, they see opportunities in this continent, and that they don't die in the oceans of the Mediterranean as they seek opportunities. It is our responsibility to make sure that we create, as leaders, to make sure that we create the opportunities here on the African continent. Former President of Burkina Faso, President Thomas Sankara once said, and I quote, "We must dare to invent," and I quote, "We must dare to invent the future now." We must dare to invent the future now. I believe over the last few days, we have had an opportunity to, at the very least, to start inventing the future for the African continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency Wamkele Mene from the Africa Free Trade Area Agreement Secretariat. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to receive our guest of honor. I would like to kindly request that we keep the noise down. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, esteemed partners, young people of Africa and beyond, the government of Rwanda has been a great partner and champion to the YouthConnekt Africa initiative. And for that reason, Your Excellency, it's a great honor for me to receive your keynote address, Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Our distinguished guests, youth delegates. It is my great pleasure to be part of this important event that brings together young people from across Africa. I wish to thank the United Nations Development Programme, the YouthConnekt Africa Hub, and other partners for organizing this summit together with the government of Rwanda. I would like also to thank all the young people who traveled from all over the world to gather here in Kigali, together with your Rwandan peers. As we come to the end of this summit, I'm confident that in addition to the wonderful atmosphere of solidarity that we have witnessed, you have gained much and contributed much to the goals of YouthConnekt. We know that the most important resource in Africa is our youth, and in particular, skilled African youth. The African Union Agenda 2063, among others, targets to reduce youth and women unemployment rates by at least 25%. This is why we're working to design and implement policies to increase prospects for young people, particularly through quality education, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Investing in young people is the right thing to do. Over the past few years, through YouthConnekt and the other forum, young people have shown that they are keen and ready to build the solutions our countries need. We are taking this seriously and continue to invest in equipping young people with the necessary tools for you to reach your full potential and drive Africa's transformation. For example, we need to do a better job of narrowing the disconnect between existing education and training systems and the skills required by the labor markets. At the same time, we encourage the youth to seek out programs that equip you with the skills and the confidence to take advantage of available opportunities and even create more. In Rwanda, we continue to diversify our education system to meet the need for a variety of skills beyond public sector employment, which has traditionally been the biggest employer in Rwanda. We are investing heavily in technical and vocational trainings to meet the growing needs of our transformational sectors, including manufacturing, construction, agriculture, tourism, ICT, among others. Government can do a lot, but we cannot do it all, and we cannot do it alone. This is why we are pleased to be working with our development partners. We also want to build more public-private partnerships to help provide young innovators and entrepreneurs with appropriate financing, mentoring, and other support to bring your vision to life. Distinguished young Africans, on behalf of the government of Rwanda, I reiterate our commitment to continue working with our partner states and institutions to support young people to realize their full potential and contribute to a dynamic, united, and prosperous Africa. As I conclude, I would like to once again thank you for your participation and wish our guests safe travels back home. On this note, I am pleased to declare the 5th edition of the YouthConnekt Africa Summit officially closed. Thank you so much.
A big round of applause to the Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda. As he is still on the stage, honorable ministers present, I kindly ask you to join our Right Honorable Prime Minister for a photo, along with our guest of honor. and gentlemen, I would like to ask you to stay in the room and stay standing because we are going to ask to have one big selfie with our guest of honor. Kindly requesting that he is escorted . Ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking all the young people to please wait in their seats. And together we'll take one picture as an auditorium with the Right Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you.